Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead, Maheshji. I have muted everybody. Maheshji, unmute yourself.
So based on today's discussion, can we say every mithya contains a satyam inside?
Yes.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
I'm saying based on today's discussion, can we say every mithya contains a satyam inside?
Yes.
Good question. Yeah. So the way to appreciate that is mithya always depends on something else for its existence. So just to repeat the question in case others have not heard, does every mithya contain satyam inside? That is the question. Okay. So mithya exists. Mithya exists. That much we know because we see objects. Objects exist. So first observation is mithya exists. Second thing we learned is mithya depends on satyam for its existence. And mithya exists, remember, first thing. Therefore, satyam has to exist. And satyam can't exist somewhere else and mithya is existing here. That is not possible. So, mithya
Exists within.
depends on satyam, which exists exactly where mithya exists. Okay? So, true, that is correct. And you used a word inside. Okay, you used a word inside, correct? Satyam exists inside mithya. So, we need to understand. So, inside means what? I am inside my home. There are so many walls. I am inside. This inside we can understand. And the water is there inside the bottle. All this we understand very well. But there the water is different from bottle. This body is different from this home, apartment, this building, this construction. But is table different from wood? As distinct as the water and the bottle. So we need to understand that. Correct? So the inside you used has to be different from the inside used when I say water is inside the bottle. Okay? Just keep that in the back of the mind and let's not get carried away by the word inside. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Because we can't say wood is inside the table. Then what is the table you have to ask? Table also is wood. So therefore we can say, yeah, in a matter of speaking, wood is there in the table. Perhaps a better word is in, not inside. Wood is there in the table. I think that much we appreciate. If you say inside, then suddenly we create a dichotomy as though there are two things and one is inside the other thing. Okay, we will leave that discussion there. But that's a good observation because that observation is so important because that is what allows us to see Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. And when the Shastram says that everything here is Brahma, when the Shastram says what you said just now has to be recalled. Every object has Satyam in it. Whether the object is this small bottle or this big building or this big planet or this big solar system, the Satyam is there in that. And that Satyam can it be different? The Satyam of the bottle is different than the Satyam of this body, is different than the Satyam of that tree. We need to think through. Are there so many different Satyams? Or can there be only one Satyam? If the answer is there can only be one Satyam, then it becomes so clear. Everything is Brahma. Brahma Mokate. You know, they say, Brahma Mokate Para. That is where Brahma Mokate comes. Okay? Okay. Harprasad, you had a question. Go ahead.
Yes. So we have to, Atma is Satyam, is a pramana, is a Shastra pramana. Since it is a pramana, we have to believe in that. If you do not believe in that, the whole thing collapses. So we have to believe in the pramana that Shastram is a true thing.
Correct. So I'm going to mute you, Harprasad ji. So the question is, Atma Satyam. It is a pramanam. The Shastram is telling us that. Very true. If the Shastram were not there, I cannot even guess that. And I must believe it. Otherwise, the whole thing falls apart. The whole thing collapses. This is the question. So look at this. Yes, the Shastram says it. And we already saw it is a pramanam. Shastram is a pramanam. And yes, until I appreciate it, I must believe it. Now, we saw the property of a pramanam. What is pramanam? Pramanam delivers some data to me. Like the eyes are delivering so much data. And I make sense out of that data. I have to make some sense out of that data. Finally, I have to make sense. And I have to operate the pramana. So I am now operating the Shastram, the Vedas, the Upanishad. And it is telling me something about myself. Okay? It is telling me something that I never heard of before, that I never suspected. Now, when you say, Haraprasad ji, that if I don't believe it, that whole thing falls apart. If I don't believe a fact, why should that whole thing fall apart? A fact remains a fact forever. Okay? So if I don't believe that the earth revolves around the sun, I only believe that the sun revolves around the earth, then what falls apart? Does physics fall apart? Physics doesn't fall apart regardless of what I believe or I don't believe. My beliefs belong to me. My beliefs don't change anything in this world. I mean, my ability to act and do things depend on my beliefs, my convictions, no doubt. But 2 plus 3 is 5. Whether I believe it, whether I am a mathematician, whether I am an illiterate person, all this doesn't matter. Whether I believe the teacher who is teaching this and all that, it's absolutely irrelevant for the fact to be a fact. Correct? Now, if it happens to be a fact, so let's put if. If that what the Shastram says happens to be a fact, then what is going to fall apart if I don't believe it? I am the one who's going to fall apart. I am the loser. Because here is the fact that is not appreciated. And it is intricately tied to my life. It is my life the Shastram is talking about. I am worried about my life, finally. I am worried about my sorrow is what is my problem. So that I is what the Shastram is talking about. Therefore, I can believe something that the Shastram says as long as it is not against reason. As long as it is not against reason. Remember that. Just because the Shastram is there, it cannot say something unreasonably. See, that's the beauty of our Shastram. It doesn't worry about this Laukika things in this world. It doesn't talk about mathematics. It doesn't talk about physics, chemistry. It doesn't worry about all these things at all. Amazing it is. Because that is science, and yeah, you're welcome to study and know it. And the Shastra says what I am going to say will not contradict anything you have understood, discovered, invented, and anything else you are going to invent also. Correct? Therefore, when it is impossible to contradict the Shastra, which we will appreciate as we go along this course, then the belief that I have in the Shastra can only bless me. Only bless me. You have the right, Haraprasadji, to refute that statement. We all do it. In fact, we must refute the statement. We must try to. In the process of understanding, we do refute it. We do look at cases which can be different, which can negate a particular statement. We do that. Part of the teaching also involves that kind of analysis. So that's the power of the Shastram. And so we are blessed to believe it. And the one who doesn't believe it, it is not a loss to the Shastram. It is not a loss to the Shastram, because we can see that through our acharyas, to our parampara, we can see how that is manifest. That truth is manifest. Like you see mathematics teachers and mathematics departments, it's all coming. And so nobody can ask the question, how do you know 2 + 3 is 5? Nobody can ask. If you don't know, you are welcome to know. That's all we can say. You are welcome to disprove it if you want. That also is perfectly fine. So disproving, our Shastram is full of debates, and this whole topic is debated. There is Advaita, there is Vishishta Advaita, and there is Dvaita, etc. And very beautifully debated without killing each other. There is a lot of debate going on in our culture, and no killing, because commitment is to the truth, not to go to heaven. Because if going to heaven becomes the goal, then somebody can tell me, you shoot these fellows and you will go to heaven. This kind of idea we don't have. So I'm purposely telling all this because they're all connected. When I look at all these religions, we should compare and contrast, and we can see where all these ideas are coming. And so, Haraprasad, the short answer to your question is, yes, until I know something, I must believe that something. There's no choice. And nothing wrong, it is a blessing. In fact, what they used to say, in our culture, we say that, hey, you must keep a Bhagavad Gita book in your puja room. And that itself will bless you. How keeping a book in the puja room, and I don't even go to the puja room. Mother is doing puja and wife is doing all the puja, and I don't go to the puja room. And how Bhagavad Gita will bless me? And you ask him, you study Bhagavad Gita, he says, oh, it is there in my puja room. Yes, we also have a book, Bhagavad Gita book. And this fellow doesn't even know what Bhagavad Gita is and who is talking, what dialogue is happening. Nothing he knows. And still we say, the Bhagavad Gita will bless him. We say that. Why? Yeah, we say that because someday, at least he knows the 2 words, Bhagavad and Gita. Arey, that's a great start. That's a fantastic start. So that itself is a blessing. So someday somebody will say, Arey, aao, let's go. Yahan upanyas chal raha hai. Bhagavad Gita ke baare mein. हाँ, Bhagavad Gita. अच्छा, क्या है ये? What is all this? Yeah, chalo, let's go and find out. Just 1 hour. That's it. Blessed. Bhagavad Gita book in that puja room has blessed this fellow. Yes or no? Correct? That is what we say, blessing. That is what we say. We don't know how blessings come to us. Good question, Prasad. Belief versus belief is an important topic. We'll continue to cover. Yeah, Prasad ji. Prasad and then Sajeev ji.
Okay. So, no object exists on its own apart from its cause. by itself apart from its cause. That's what the statement, right? Based on so far what I understood. And Atman is Satyam, Jagat is Mithya, right? Any other thing, objectified things are all Mithya. So then if you divide these two, the Satyam and Mithya, now like you just mentioned earlier, there are two concepts, though they were not mentioned earlier, but you just mentioned Advaita, Dvaita. Now, is Dvaita, based on that, can I conclude that Dvaita is, I would say, samsara, and Advaita is moksha, or liberation, if you say in English. So that's the question, simple question, but I don't know whether I can ask the other question, which is related to the first question, that Dvaita, if Dvaita is samsara, then what Dvaitans talk, what do they say about this? Like, I mean, what would be the moksha in their concept?
Sure. Yeah, good question. These are all good questions. Go ahead and mute yourself. So the first question is, you made a statement that Mithya, Satyam is the cause of Mithya, you said, in our analysis. So I have not used the word cause yet. And so Mithya depends on Satyam. Satyam is independent of Mithya. That is what we said. Like the table wood, like the wave and water. The cause aspect we have not covered yet. Okay. So yeah, coming back to your other question, Advaita, Dvaita, etc. Yes. According to the vision of Advaita, Dvaita isn't sufficient. Means Dvaita creates a dichotomy, and so Dvaitathi bhayam bhavati. So whenever you separate two things, whenever there is something that is separate from me, that something is a cause for fear. So Dvaita can never be a cause for moksha. That is what Advaitin will say. Dvaitin will say, no, that is not it. Hey, you worship this particular, Vishnu or whoever. And Vishnu is not same as you. How can you be Vishnu? You idiot. You don't even know how to spell Dvaita. And you are saying you are the whole. Okay? Yeah, he may say that. And so Vishnu is different. Did you create this world? No, I didn't create this world. Okay, then what are you talking about? How can you and Vishnu be identical? And so he says, therefore, Vishnu is up there. He's not here. And moksha means going to Vaikuntha, Vishnu. That is his thesis. And he will interpret all the statements of the Shastram like that to come to that conclusion. And there is a debate back and forth, and we will, one will try to prove the other as having a flaw, and we will show what is a flaw in their logic. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So finally, can both of them be correct? Okay, that question can arise. Correct? Can both of them? Yeah. So when we are talking about knowledge, generally you can't have 2-3 things being correct. Not possible. 2 + 3 is always one number only, and we can't be compassionate and say, you can take 2 + 3 to be 4, and you be compassionate. The teacher is so compassionate with all these students. And, what did you do? 2 + 3 is 4. Acha, parwa nahi. You are also correct. And in India, some of these things are there, that no student should be allowed to fail. All these funny ideas we Indians have developed. And so the teacher can't allow these children to fail. 2 + 3, 4, okay. 2 + 3, 6. Chalo, you're pretty close. 6 is close to 5 or not? Yeah, then what is the problem? Did he say 600? No, see, he's smart fellow. He said 6 at least. So you have to give him credit. This is how we Indians think sometimes. This is our governments and all. If you see the way they behave, it's just crazy. So therefore, finally we will say Advaita, Dvaita, all these things. Yeah, only one of them has to be true. And so our commitment to truth is what will take us to that truth. So we have no problems. And that is why we debate also. We won't say, oh, if you break the Dvaitic argument here, you will go to hell, Prasad. So this idea is not there in our culture. This idea is not there. So we are fearless about all these things. We talk about all this openly. So that will take us, that will bless us. So we will, hopefully, Prasad, that will answer to some extent your question. Okay, so Venkateshan ji had raised his hand before.
Can we simplify this complex topic? Shakti is Satya, Shiva is Mithya.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? Shakti is
Satya, Shiva is Mithya.
Okay, go ahead and mute yourself.
Material and Shakti. Like that, Narayana and Mahalakshmi, or Narasimha and Mahalakshmi.
Yeah. So, can we simplify the topic if you say? Then Haraprasad ji will ask you, hey, so I have to believe this, that Shakti is Satyam and Narayana is Mithya, or whatever you said, I have to believe you. Because I don't know Shakti, I don't know Narayana. So now you have to educate me all these things. So there is so much to see. Our approach is one of bhakti and appreciation. Bhakti will lead us to appreciation. So when you say Shakti is Satyam, then you have something in your mind that you want to communicate. You want to communicate Satyam. You want to communicate something called Shakti. And you must be able to communicate that. So I don't know if that is a simplification or not, or complication or not. I don't want to say it is complication, but we have to make it appreciable to the human mind. So whatever you said also has to be explained properly. And so when we stop at the level of belief alone, then we can stop anywhere. We can stop anywhere. You must believe that you are Atma, that you are Purnam, if I say. Then over, there is no more teaching. You believe it, I said it, my job is over, your job also is over. So we can move forward. And we lead our lives saying, Atma is Purnam, I believe in this, I believe in this. But does belief really signify moksha? Is the question. Can belief be a final solution to a problem? Okay, this is an important question. We all have to ask this question to ourselves. Okay. So what if the belief is wrong? Belief itself means it can be right or wrong. So world over, people believed that the sun was rising. And crystal clear, it's so obvious that the sun is rising. And in Europe, they used to kill people who said the sun was not rising, the sun is not moving. So when you're Venkateshan ji, when we are committed to the truth, we can't accept. We will believe, no doubt, but we will not stop until the belief becomes a reality for us. Correct? Until. Why should a scientist look at the sun and say, wait a minute, is the sun really moving? Why should a human mind think like this? Is the sun really moving, or am I moving around the sun? To ask that question requires a great human mind. Beautiful. So therefore, I don't know how to answer your question. Simplify, when you say, then simplify for whom? I think it looks simple to you. But in Vedanta, we have to explain a lot. We have to bring in the analysis of the world, which will come later. Now we are doing Jiva, this body, this mind, this Atma. And then the Jiveshwara Aikyam is there. And so if it helps you, then I think that is good, Venkateshan ji. But we are following this approach given by our teacher here. And that's the traditional approach in Advaita Vedanta and other topics, other schools, as they say, also it is similar. Okay, so I think Sajeev ji is there. We will have one more question. I think it's already 8 o'clock here. Go ahead, Sajeev ji.
Namaste, Jaykumarji. If the time is up, I can wait until next week. It's fine. I just have a question, but we can do it next week also. It's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we talked about Satyam and Midya, Jaykumarji, and one of the things I thought you said, and I thought the way I understood is, at a cognitive level, we have to understand Satyam and Midya and separate them. So what's next? After understanding Satyam and Midya to be separate, should I just knowing that Atma is Satyam and everything else is Midya, should I not interact with anything? Or should I also understand that Satyam is in and through all this Midya and should continue to do what I am doing? What is the practical benefit of having this understanding at a cognitive level?
Right. Good question. So what is the practical benefit? Go ahead and mute yourself. So, well, one practical benefit is moksha. Okay. So, which we are, of course, appreciating. I'm not asking you to blindly accept these things. And so, when the human being claims to have a lot of problems that one wants to get out of. See, if somebody says, I have no problem in life and life is great and all that, that's fine. Life can be great and be what you are. But the fundamental problem of I being a mortal is not acceptable to the self. I being a victim of so many different things, victim of people around me, all these things are there. Not just mosquitoes bite me, but other people also seem to bite me. This is my idea, correct? So this mind which is beset with problems, when the mind is told that you think is a victim cannot really be a victim. Suppose the Shastram proves that. Sajeev ji, suppose the Shastram proves that you are not a victim of anything. You are not, you are Amaraha. Sajeev's another name is Amar. Suppose Shastram says that. What is the benefit of that? Tell me. And you say, yes, I got it. I got it. You say that. Is there a benefit or not? So we need to think through it. I'm not saying you should answer the question now. The benefit is that I am not what I thought myself to be. I am much more than what I am. And so that's the benefit. And we may not appreciate it now, but as we begin to learn more and assimilate this, we will begin to appreciate the magnitude of that benefit. Okay. So right now it is apparently theoretical. I now learned a new concept called Vidya and a concept called Satyam. So that is why these concepts don't help us. Only when something is thoroughly understood, it can bless us, correct? So same thing here also. So yeah, the benefit is there, and yeah, continue to do what you do, and that is there. Vedanta doesn't promise anything like some people promise, and some great things in heaven and all you will get, and they say all these things. Vedanta has no problem, and it doesn't make any of these promises, and heaven is green in color and all. We don't say all this, and Vedanta talks about now. now, the present. This is what Vedanta talks about. It doesn't worry about the future. In fact, it dismisses the future. It says, yeah, you may go to heaven and all that, but then you have to face this reality even when you go to heaven. So we Vedantins have absolutely no problem when it comes to these things. So if somebody asks, "Hey, Vaikuntha, you describe what Vaikuntha is. Should I go to heaven or not?" Then I will say, go ask your people who taught you about Vaikuntha. Why are you asking me? How will I know about Vaikuntha? I never went there. Maybe when I go there and come back, I will tell you. That's all I can say. What else can I say? So I think the benefit is there. And what I miss by not knowing myself is lot more than what I think I have now. And or what I think I am now. So I think that's a good question actually. And Arjuna actually asks a question to Krishna somewhere in the 6th chapter or something. And he says, you know what he says? He says, hey, Krishna, you're asking me to do all this. You're asking me to fight and follow my dharma. And you're talking also about sannyasa and all that. I'm beginning to appreciate all this. What happens if I suddenly die now? Means the death is imminent. There is a war right there. And there is no guarantee that I'm going to come out alive. And he says, what happens? And Krishna says a beautiful answer. And he says, Partha naiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate or something he says. He says, hey Partha, there is no loss. You will pick up the thread wherever you go. This is what he says. It is to be believed. You can't prove this stuff. You will pick up the thread. And wherever you go, the same thought will come with you. And Vedanta will follow you. And you will have the same opportunity and this discussion, he says. And we need that consolation. We need that consolation. And that is perfect. And we can believe it because already growing in this culture, this karma idea is very much there. And we know that anything proper we do can only contribute to our benefit in the future. This doesn't require a huge amount of proof. And so Arjuna needed that assurance. And Krishna assures him. And he says even more, a few more things. Suchinam Srimatam Gehe, he says. He's correct. He says you will be born in families which are cultured, which think like this, like that, he says. Very beautiful, very beautiful. So that's how this journey is, Sanjeev. So let's do this. I think all of these questions are interesting, but I suggest you write them down so that you can ask them next class. It's already late for some of you. I don't want to keep everybody waiting. So perhaps next class, we can spend another half an hour continuing with the questions. So please write it down if you have to remember it. And then can we continue next class? Okay. Let me stop this.